Yo, welcome back to another Borderlands 4 video. In today's video, we have an Amon build for you. With this setup, we are basically going to be utilizing the swords for Amon's green tree. We're going to be dipping quite heavily into the red tree here as well, but for the most part, the build is centered around the green tree. So let's just get right into it. So to start us off, this is what our green tree is looking like. The original plan for this setup was to go fully down the green tree, but the more time I spent with all the skills, none of this tree makes any sense whatsoever. So what I've done is I've put more points into the red skill tree, but we are utilizing the action skill and the augment of the green tree. Our first 5 points are going to be going into Executioner, which is Amon gains increased critical hit damage and double this effect for a duration after dealing melee damage. We're going to be dealing a lot of melee damage. It is going to be a melee damaged focus build, so yeah, melee damage increase as well, so we're getting a nice amount here, 40%. We're going to be doing a split here. We're going to take Destruction Engine. We're going to go 4 points into here, so Amon gains increased forge skill damage and detonation damage. Those are going to work really well with this setup. We are utilizing detonation damage quite a bit, and the forge skill is actually quite good. We go 1 point into Tempered Pyre. This is so that we can get the Axe Forge drone that does incendiary melee damage. Like I said, originally I wanted this entire build to be built around the Forge drones, but they are just not strong enough. They're really not. They have a purpose in this build, which I'm really happy about, but they, them alone, they just won't do the damage. They're just not good enough whatsoever, and I hope to get another buff sometime soon, and if so, then great, this build will do even better. I'd like to note as well that we are getting points from the class mod. This is, I mean, it's a nice addition. I'll go through all that when we get to the inventory section of it. But yeah, so we are only putting 1 point in here because that puts us up to 6, and it allows us to go down to Twin Tempers, which gives us the Axe Fall Drone, which is the cryo melee damage, so we get 2 out at the same time. Then we're going 5 points into Vital Organs, which is a kill skill. Amon gains critical hit chance with guns for a duration. This also stacks really well with the weapons that we will be using. It will be focused around using the mantra, since we are built quite heavily for melee damage. And now we go for a 3-2 split here, so we're going Raging Inferno, which is action skill damage as a chance to critically hit. Critical hits from direct action skill damage also apply burn. You don't really have to go here, but the crit hit chance with the action skill damage is actually really nice, and I do notice it. And then our other 2 points are going into Tempered Ice, which will give us the Hammer Forge drone when we activate our ordnance. So basically we want the forge drones to be out at all times, or as long as we can keep them out, because like I say, when we get over to the red tree, they play quite a vital part into this build. If you don't want the Tempered Ice and you don't want the cryo melee damage, since you already get the cryo melee damage from the Axe Forge drone, you can instead go for the Tempered Lightning, but that's completely up to you. I get that from the class mod anyways, so I didn't put any points into there. I kind of just went for an extra drone. Moving on over to the red tree, we are taking Discombobulate, which is Amon gains melee critical hit chance, so that's 25%. Moving down, we are taking Tritanium Knuckles, which is Amon gains increased melee damage and skill damage, so it's 20% skill damage, 40% melee. They both kind of stack quite well with each other, so it's 60 in total with the action skill, because the skill damage against 20 plus the 40 because it does melee damage. We're going for another split here, so we're going the best defense. I'm going 2 points into here, so I gain Nova Shield when I deal melee damage, which is 6% overshield, and I've gone 3 points into Metal Edge, so whenever I deal gun damage, gain action skill cooldown rate for a duration. I think this works with the mantra, I believe it does. If not, you can go 5 points into the best defense or go for another split, but it works really well I think here. And the main reason why we are built into the red tree more than the green is for Berserk. So whenever Amon activates his Forge skill, he becomes Berserk for a duration, gaining slow immunity and bonus cryo damage with gun damage and melee damage. So that works really well with the mantra. It works really well with our action skill because it deals melee damage and the Forge drones as well. Then we go further down with There Is Only Red. So this is a kill skill. Whenever Amon kills an enemy while Berserk is active, partially restore the duration and increase bonus cryo damage up to 600%, so it's 60% per kill, and it gives 4 seconds back every single time. This is stupidly important, and it really helps with us mobbing and clearing out ads and actually dealing quite a lot of damage. It's a really, really good build for mobbing. And then we go 2 points into Brimming Vigor, which is Amon gains max health capacity and deals increased melee damage the more full his health. Our health, it does dip quite a bit. We are in melee range a lot of the time, but I have found that keeping a bit of a distance and using the mantra ends up working better with this setup. If you don't like that, you can just run in with the swords and start meleeing with them. Now, last 3 points is My Touch is Death. Whenever Amon deals melee damage, there is a chance to activate kill skills. So this is a 24% chance, but the reason why it's so potent in this setup is it will also activate There Is Only Red, which is the kill skill, so we get the cryo damage increase a lot quicker, and we stack it up 10 times. The other stuff that we've got going on is, so the Forged Drones deal melee damage, and they actually proc the kill skills. So the more Forged Drones that are out, the more chance that it keeps it stacked, and we basically have the Berserk up at all times. So Berserk will consistently be up at all times. I did try and do this build a bit differently, but there's no way it's going to work unless I have My Touch is Death. So I had to go more points into the red tree, and you will see in gameplay that it just doesn't go down at all. As you can see in the bottom left, it will just keep going back up the Berserk, and it keeps the stacks at 10 at all times, and that's basically how we keep our stacks up. Always at 10, so we always get the bonus cryo damage. Moving on over to our specialization, I ain't got that many points going on right now, but it's quite a simple setup. We've got 20 into survivor because we are taking bullets that are scared of me, and we are also taking the best defense. So those two work really well. Increased damage dealt in the fullness of their shield, and increased damage reduction based on the fullness of the shield. Obviously, we're quite close quarters with this setup, so the more damage and the more damage reduction, the better. We go 10 into sharpshooter just so we can get into daredevil, and we go 20 in runner as well, or as many points as you can go into runner, so 27 now, to get that melee damage and movement speed. We are also going to be running groundbreaker. This is mainly used for our bossing, and it works really, really well in mobbing as well, but for bossing, this build can do it all. It's done the invincible, it's done everything it can in the game on UVHM6, but groundbreaker plays quite a good part into that. And then our last one is Now with Caffeine, reduce action skill cooldown whenever a rep kit is activated, which is really, really good because we want our action skill up at all times, because basically how it functions is when you have 3 charges with the swords, it will shoot out all of the swords, so it'll use your other 2 action skill like points up basically, and it will shoot more swords out the more it has, so 3 in total with 3 charges, which is really, really potent in boss fights and for mobbing. And finally, moving on over to the weapons and the gear, this one's quite a simple setup honestly. So it's basically mantras. So we got 3 mantras, all for different elements and different stuff. I'm not fully finished with getting all the right ones. Basically, the only thing you want to look for on these, you can get away with 1. Honestly, you can get away with just, I don't know, fire and irradiation. You don't need to go grinding heavily for them. 1 will do it. Ideally, you are looking for Ripper part, because what that allows it to do, it basically turns it into a bit of a machine gun, and it's not a single tap shot anymore, and it doesn't just do a double burst, it will shoot the entire magazine, so you're getting damage off a lot quicker, allowing you to proc groundbreaker a lot quicker as well. For our rep kit, we're going to be using a triple bypass with accelerator, so action skill cooldown rate. That's the only thing that I feel like this build really kind of needs specifically, because you want your action skill up at all times. You want 3 charges when you're about to throw your swords, so accelerator and the triple bypass allows to have 3 charges, so we can use it quite frequently. You can't just spam them, but because of our specialization, you can actually spam them, but you won't get accelerator every single time, but you do get your action skill pretty much instantly every single time you use a rep kit. So I went for more charges on a rep kit than I did like one that gives me something different. We are going for the Slippy, which is the fish slap basically. Deals melee damage on detonation. This is one, it's quite strong for mobbing when we're in like bigger packs of enemies. It takes out a lot more, it's got a nice radius, and for bossing it helps really, really build up the groundbreaker, so we can proc that and get more damage off with it. I did dabble with a couple of different class mods, but the blacksmith ended up coming out really, really strong. So we got Forged Drone duration. The longer they're up, the better, because we keep that berserk up for longer, and Amon gains increased gun damage and Forged Drone damage for each one that is active. And I've rolled quite well into these as well, so I don't have to put as many points in to get more Forged Drones. We're using a What's for Dinner because the melee shields in this game are pretty terrible. So we've got Siphon on it. When I deal damage, I gain a chance to get an overshield. When I have an overshield, I get 25% shock damage on top, so a good way to get an extra bit of shock damage. So yeah, what's for dinner? If you want to use a different shield, you can do, but for me, this has been perfect. And last but not least, the enhancement. I am running a Jacobs one at the moment. This is a terrible enhancement. It's just the one that has Action Fist on at the moment. You can run pretty much anything. Ideally, you would run something like a Maliwan, and you'd get Mixologist, so you can have 2 different damage types out at once with your mantra, so you can get 10% of your other element. And the status effect spread's also pretty good, but I need to swap that out and get Action Fist on it instead of Real Big Fist. And for our firmware, we've got 2 into Real Big Fist, so we get a 50% increase to melee damage. Action Fist, we've got a 25% increase to melee damage and 30% action skill damage. The action skill damage obviously stacks with the melee as well, since it's the swords, which is really nice. And I've got 1 point into Skillcraft for skill damage increase by 15%. For this one, you can go wherever you want. You don't have to have Skillcraft, it's just what I've currently got on my triple bypass with the accelerator, so that's completely up to you on that last point. The skill damage is still quite nice though, so not really going to complain. I did originally try and make a Skillcraft setup with 3 points of Skillcraft and the Forged Runes, but it didn't come close. The actual stacking, when you have 3 in it, where it stacks up to 25 times, the stacks diminish really quickly. It says 10 seconds, but I think it's 10 seconds overall, and the stacks kind of go like every second or every half second, so it's really, really hard to have the upkeep for the skill damage. I'll show a little bit of like a damage rotation of how it kind of works. So bring out these, use fire or whichever one you want to use, throw that, do a big detonation, shoot that, and then melee. Obviously, if you want to stack more, you can throw the fish slaps in there as well, and then we'll be just using the mantra, and you'll see all the drones in the bottom left will be keeping up our berserk. So I'm just going to leave you some gameplay. I'll do a couple bosses or something, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, subscribe. I don't really ask for that often, but yeah, it really, really helps out the channel, and I'm trying to pump out some more build videos and some different types of videos as well as we keep going through the year of Borderlands and actual, hopefully, good content coming with it. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.